caravans, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the average American would be wildly against sending troops to the border to stop these aspiring illegal immigrants from creating some sort of ruckus. Oh, except you're not really supposed to call them illegal migrants, right? Migrants really, or refugees if you will, fleeing from a life of deprivation in Honduras, a deprivation so great that they can't even seek asylum in neighboring countries, of course, like Mexico or Guatemala. They have to come to the United States. My point is that nobody with a heart would encourage using American troops to enforce border laws, and if you're for something like that, you're obviously heartless. That was the accepted party line in the mainstream media. And then someone went and did a poll and screwed it all up. According to the release of that surveyed poll, a clear 57% of likely voters think that sending troops to the border to stop the caravan is a good idea. That would be enough of a surprise by itself. But here's another kicker. President Trump has thus far proposed up to 15,000 troops to secure the southern border. The first wave is arriving to reinforce the international bridge in Hidalgo, Texas, according to the reports. Of course, this poll also reported that among younger voters, they tend to disagree with the decision to send troops, while older voters agreed with it. In that regard, however, I'm reminded of that Winston Churchill quote about being young and conservative or old and liberal. Either way, the survey is proof, yet again, that the media narrative on what America is thinking regarding illegal immigration simply doesn't match up with the facts. Americans want our border laws enforced. That's why the laws are there in the first place. We've seen this over and over again with issues like the border wall and amnesty. When will the media finally admit that their take on the issue doesn't line up with reality?
You're absolutely right. I mean, when we're looking at, for example, these migrant caravans, I think, it would be, America is the most generous, charitable nation ever on the planet, ever, right? And that stands, and we're like twice as generous as the rest of the entire world put together. We love to welcome people. We want to welcome people. Yes, we are proof right here that we are a nation of immigrants. But as much as you probably invite people into your home, maybe for Thanksgiving from your church, or I know I've invited the guy that delivers our firewood in because he didn't have any place to go. We all would do that, but you can't invite 500 people into your house. There's a certain point where logic has to dictate that now that these are waves of migrant immigrants, illegals, we have to have some law and order here. It has to be.
That's right.
The rule of
no
law
one's
has to be employed.
anti-immigrant. That's what I find so offensive about the way it's been characterized as being racist if you just want a control of the system.
Coming from a president who married an immigrant, let's be clear.
Exactly
okay, so this is the same way that they call him an anti-Semite when his daughter converted to Judaism. It's the absurdity of the left. But the point you made with the audience is the key one. When we have waves of illegal immigrants, you are going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. Everybody in this room is going to be fine. But it's the manual laborer in California. It's the fruit picker who works legally who's going to be hurt the most. It's the people at the bottom rung of our society who are just trying to scrape by, and somebody comes across the board and says, I'll work for half of that, just give me the cash under the table. You're hurting the most vulnerable people in society if you think this is a good idea.
What do you think from an economic perspective?
So I just want to re-emphasize what Dr. Gorka is saying. So this is the miracle of the Trump economy. And so what he's actually done is by cutting the illegal immigration, and who wants it, illegal immigration? It's nonsense. By cutting it, he took the slack out of the labor market and he tightened the African-American and Hispanic-American labor markets to the lowest unemployment numbers in the recorded history of those markets. So he can't, for some reason, the left won't give him any credit for that, but the Wall Street Journal does. The Wall Street Journal says that those people that Dr. Gorka is talking about, their wages are up 5.5%. The bottom 10% of America, the wages are up 5.5% in the last year. So this is the miracle of the Trump economy.
Think about this, Steve. There are oil companies in America right now that are offering $25,000 cash signing bonuses. If you've got a pulse and are breathing and you can drive a truck, you're working. That's the Trump economy.
That's right.
And illegal immigration kills that.
But there's also the crime issue. Steve, I just moved to Florida not that long ago from San Diego, California, of course, a border city, and I saw the crime exacted on the legal immigrant community, most of them legal immigrants from Mexico. Many of them, their family members are, for example, ICE agents. People don't realize that that's where the crime is exacted, the human trafficking, of course, the opioids we've heard all about. But in states like Arizona, crime rates among illegal immigrants, because this is often misreported by the more leftist regressive news outlets, is actually like 250% more exacted on mostly the legal immigrant population. So if you're really pro-immigrant, you should be pro-legal immigration only, because that protects the legal immigrants that are here.
Well, I don't know about that data, but I totally agree with the general point that we should be. I can see people nodding. I mean, who here is anti-immigration? You're not anti-immigration, right? You just want it controlled. I can see people nodding along with that. It's just, and I think it goes to this point that if it's so evident that laws are being flouted and something so important is out of control, it undermines people's faith in government overall.
Yeah, but see, let's talk about the dirty little secret. This isn't about the economy. This is about illegal votes, right? When the Democrats say voter suppression, who's getting suppressed? People who are committing crimes by voting. They think they're going to lock in a new voter base by allowing illegal immigrants in, giving them IDs, as they do in California and other places, so they can vote illegally.
Driver licenses.
Right, driver licenses.
Right, yeah.
Or then somehow giving them an amnesty 5, 10 years from now. The Democrats lie when they say they care. They say they're the compassionate party. It's about power. Everybody knows.
And by the way, I mean, again, some people hear that and think, oh, that's extreme, that's over the top. But, Stacey Abrams, candidate for governor in Georgia, she basically said it in a speech to supporters.
But it's also important to note that in many places now, it is perfectly legal for non-citizens to vote on the state and local
Well, in San Francisco, local elections.
Level.
All right.
Yes.
When it comes to border security, these caravans, this porous border, it does represent a threat to the people in the United States. And if they don't go out and vote for Republicans, the Democratic Party has now embraced abolishing ICE, open borders, and I think that should scare people. It's okay to tell people that there are bad folks that want to get across our border illegally and that we need to do the things to stop them.
You talk about scaring people. It does seem like that is the intent. But even Shep Smith of Fox News, the president's favorite network, has pushed back on that fear that the president has drummed up over the caravan. Here he is.
There is no invasion. No one's coming to get you. There's nothing at all to worry about. When they did this to us, got us all riled up in April, remember? The result was 14 arrests. We're America. We can handle it.
Is he wrong?
Yeah. I think he is. Shep Smith doesn't get the same intelligence briefings that I do that indicate that there are special interest aliens who at times take advantage of the porous border. We have seen circumstances where Africans, Middle Easterners who we've been paying close attention to as a consequence of some of the training that they've been involved in, they understand and know that one of the easiest ways to get in our country is to cross illegally on that border. And so I do think that that's important for us.
We don't know. We haven't seen the evidence of these people. You talk about your intelligence briefing, so I'll give you that. But, I mean, you guys are talking about an invasion. Do invaders really give you 3 months' notice that they're coming?
Well, I think that depends. When you look at the footage and the images of these people trying to tear down barriers, trying to move through countries, attacks on law enforcement, I don't exactly want them moving in to subdivisions in my congressional district.
I got to stop you there, though, because we have had reporters talking with a lot of these people who are coming as part of this caravan. A lot of them, and you know that this is true, are mothers and children and families who are fleeing persecution, or fleeing violence, or fleeing poverty in their home countries. They're not
both can
these
be true,
extremely
Anna.
violent people. There may be some of these violent people among that mix.
Yes.
Be. But
so you'll concede that it's not mutually exclusive.
That everybody
you can
is
have
like
both.
that?
No. I'm not saying everybody is, but I don't have to win the argument that everybody in the caravan is dangerous. I just have to win the argument that somebody in the caravan is dangerous or could be dangerous, because if they are coming here to do harm to Americans, I don't care if it's 1 of them, 10 of them, or 1,000 of them. I don't want to them coming here disrespecting our borders. And if people go vote for Democrats, then we're going to have open borders. There's going to be an attack on ICE, and you're going to really see a change in the country that is unsafe for people.